President Trump firing his first shot at the deep state that tried to hobble his first term. Former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director James Comey are under criminal investigation for potential wrongdoing related to Trump and the Russia probe, according to sources at the Justice Department. Earlier, President Trump weighed on whether he wants to see anybody locked up.
Do you want to see these two guys behind bars?
Well, I know nothing about it other than what I read today, but I will tell you, I think they're very dishonest people. I think they're crooked as hell, and maybe they have to pay a price for that. I believe they are truly bad people and dishonest people, so whatever happens, happens.
And the former CIA Director John Brennan is responding by doubling down on the Russia investigation.
I stand behind the assessment. I think the assessment has stood the test of time. And again, I point to those reviews that were done in a apolitical, nonpartisan fashion. I want to make sure that people understand exactly what the Russians were doing to try to interfere in our very, very solemn domestic election system.
All right, Dana, is it hard to believe the FBI director and the CIA director conspired in their testimony to Congress?
Well, the whole thing is hard to believe because it's not believable in terms of the Russia collusion scandal. And the Democrats are still paying a price for that on all sorts of ways, right? They lament the loss of trust in our institutions. Mm-hmm. And then you go back to, well, what about this? Everything you can point to that they're mad about, you go, but what about that? And I think what Jonathan Turley said is really important. He said that, does this cross the line into perjury? And that's where there might be a rub, right? So that's why I think the criminal investigation makes sense. I hope that there's not too many more leaks out of it to try to water it down. Like if they have a case, go forward with the case. If they don't, then, okay, they'll have to admit that. But what happened to President Trump was beyond political dirty tricks. This was so extremely damaging, maybe hurt the Democratic Party for a long, long time, but certainly when you don't have trust in the intelligence community, in the media, many of whom now pretend like they never wrote about it at all.
Well, the CIA released a lessons learned review of Russian collusion. Was that enough, Jesse?
Well, that might be the predicate for these charges, because it turns out these guys both knew that the Russia hoax was cooked up by Crooked, and they pushed it anyway. They sabotaged and spied on his campaign and tried to take down his presidency, and then they got caught red-handed. And we'll find out if there was a conspiracy or whether they lied to Congress, and I hope they pay the price. But they might not, because a lot of these guys skate all the time, so I'm not going to get my hopes up. You saw what happened with Epstein. You know, you get your hopes up, and then all of a sudden, poof, everything disappears. So the Justice Department and the FBI have a lot riding on these prosecutions. I'd like to see justice. But it's like you get guys out there that say that there's this pipe bomb at the DNC, and then, like, whatever happened to that? Mm-hmm. What about the Vegas shooter? Remember how suspicious that whole thing was? Poof, that disappears. You know, all these things always come across, and then they just disappear, and it's very frustrating for the American people. Epstein. Yeah, I mean, I just said Epstein. It's like, where did this guy go? Where did that whole case go? Where did all the files go? They just went nowhere? No one even believes that. So you got to go after these guys, and you have to go after them hard, because the American people aren't going to tolerate the corruption. You got someone like Nancy Pelosi. Her stock portfolio went up $40 million last year. And that's more than any hedge fund in the United States. And her husband's not even a professional investor. He owns a vineyard. And then Joe Biden's taken millions from the Chinese all into the table. He got nothing to show for it. And at the end of the day, he pardons his whole family and walks out the door. And then his stupid doctor pleads the fifth under oath. No one is going to get punished for any of this stuff. It just seems like Trump's people always go to jail, and these Democrats and these deep state darlings always skate.
Well, you have a point there, Jesse.
I have so many good points.
But politics is dirty, Harold. And Hillary Clinton at one point, you know, reports of her digging up dirt on Donald Trump. Of course, that's how you play the game, isn't it?
No, I hope not. I hope not. I think President Trump, every president's elected to govern, not to settle scores. And I'm just a forward-looking person. And I think the president, when I think of the things that should be high on the list of a president for asking his FBI director to do, investigating a former FBI director and CIA director for what you believe they may have done to you. When you consider TikTok is still shaping and reinforcing habits, bad habits, social media companies are developing algorithms that affect young women, young girls' self-esteem. When you consider the gangs, cyber and street, I mean, it's interesting. I love the fact that the president's sending ICE in to help get the worst of the worst out of our communities who are immigrants. But heck, I wish he'd send the Marines into Chicago and Detroit and D.C. and New York and Memphis and Denver and places where people can't have their kids walk outside of their homes because they're scared in the evenings here as we get into the summer months. So I just hope the president looks forward. This is just not the way I think about it. When you talk about the dirtiness, I don't know if it's dirty, but President Trump is selling phones, perfumes, Bibles, and Bitcoin.
Well, what was Hunter Biden selling?
Okay,
Our
so here's the
country.
What was he selling?
Okay, but hear me out. I criticized him. I criticized President
Besides
Biden.
art.
I criticized President Biden for that. In fairness, everybody around this table is my pal, but we've not criticized him.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.